This is DisKovery with a K.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
uh,
Hi.
yes, I'm just, adjusting. Welcome back to another episode of Discovery with a K. And today we're talking about our favorite albums for the first half of 2025. But in this edition, we're talking about hip hop, R&B, and the indie side of the Korean music scene.
My indie babies.
Yes, so here we have quite a few to go through actually. I think Asa, you might have a lot more than me because you
I I have five and a couple of special mentions for like a quick speed round.
amazing. So I have also a couple, maybe four, I think. So perfect.
Mm.
So I would say let's switch these things up and you can start this time.
Oh my
Mm-hmm.
goodness. Look at me go. I wanted to talk about this album, People in the World Who Incomplete by
Okay.
Iyuka. She it's a mini album with four
Okay.
tracks. And it's quite biographical about dealing with depression and feeling imperfect. This is, if you're in the market for rock ballads, insane vocals, then you really have got to try this album. Listen to The World Without Me because it is a beautiful opener to the EP. And then Who Will Love
Yep.
Me? It's only her vocals accompanied by a very soft
Oh, lovely.
piano. It's a little bit jazzy, but it's also very sad.
Oh.
So it's like
Emotional overall.
it yeah, it's beautiful. It's you're when you listen to this track, you're really present in that moment with her, feeling her feelings.
Okay.
And it's beautifully done. And then the last track I wanted to recommend is We Are Insane, which is the title track and is a crazy rock ballad, killer guitar sections, and a really beautiful progression of the entire song.
Nice.
So that was album number one.
So shall we go on to album number two? But this time we're going on to R&B. Okay. So I want to
Mm.
share the album Pull by Easy Juan. So first of all, he was a new discovery for me, and I think this is the first album that I found from him or I heard from him, and it was incredible. Okay, so on top of that is also his first album and a stunning listen. So he describes the album or the title track of the album as it goes. I wish my story is comforting to someone, and I hope such comfort reaches you. So with that, we know that we're going more through kind of like a personal journey with this release, and that's what he serves. Okay. So I will talk about a couple
Aw.
of tracks because this album was impactful to me in many ways. It's actually such a well crafted album. So let's start with Van Dyke Brown. This one serves as intro with a stunning instrumentals arrangement, and I particularly loved how the vocals were added as basically part of the outro, which was quite surprising to be honest,
Mm-hmm.
because it was mostly instrumental and then the vocals come in just in the outro.
Oh,
Fascinating. Yes, I want
cool.
to talk about Lavender next. So this is the title song and it captures the essence of this release. It's raw, it's emotional, and it is minimalistic but beautifully mixed. Then I want to
Mm.
recommend Morning Glory. This one starts with ambient music, birds chirping, fairy-like harmonies, all of that, and it evolves into a more raw and fast-paced track. It is, and the full
Mm-hmm.
progression is just captivating. I want to talk about actually Melatonin featuring Joe the Friends. This one is also it's a new find for me. So My Bad and Her, these are two singles that are kind of like in the middle of this release, and they are pure lo-fi goodness. And if you've listened to this for a while, you do know that I do love a good lo-fi track.
True. Yeah.
Then I want to talk about When Autumn Falls from the Tree. again, lo-fi meets ambience on this one, so it was kind of like at the mix of both vibes we're going for in these R&B, R&B slash, I would say R&B. It is got an R&B soul to it, but it's also quite hip hop, as it tends to be in hip hop and R&B. They
Mm-hmm.
both tend to blend kind of both genres. And this one,
Mm-hmm.
we have the in between lo-fi and then ambience music, burst tripping at some point, and it's got like a touch of rhythmic rapping that I really, really enjoy. Last, I want to talk about Love Yourself. It's such a beautiful end for such a well rounded, soft, and delicate release. It is sentimental and it's got a very delicate instrumental arrangement that I feel like it fully and beautifully concludes the full concept of this release. It was all very it was aspects of R&B. Of course, there was rapping, there was lo-fi, and all of it just closes beautifully with this last song. So I
Yeah.
would say if you don't know him,
Oh,
go and check
wonderful.
Easy Huang because he's so talented.
Nice.
Yes. So what's your next album?
I'm sticking with the sad theme
Well, this one was
for a
also sad,
minute.
so let's just stick to sad then.
We're introducing the sadness. Yee! I want to talk about the album Remembering by Ho Ho
Okay.
Kyung. I think I also spoke about this album in the monthly
Likely, yes.
favorites. I just this is an EP with 6 tracks, and it's just beautiful ballad after beautiful ballad, and I feel like Ho Ho Kyung has this beautiful
Yeah.
lyricism and such a pure and beautiful vocal tone that just really suits that emotional, introspective kind of tracks. There's a couple of tracks I wanted to talk about. There's Blame, which introduces strings, and I love when a ballad sort of
Yeah.
swells.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know
yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
It's just, oh my God, instant tears. You have that feeling like in your chest, and you're like, oh my God, I feel it,
Yeah,
you
it's an
know?
emotional overload when
Um,
you listen to the full instrument. Yes,
yes,
I totally get
yes,
you.
exactly. Listen to Although in Tears for vocal harmonies. They are just to die for. Um, it's it's an interesting track because the tone and musicality of the song feels
Yeah,
cheerful, but then you look at the lyrics and they're all about like crying for a long time.
emotional whiplash.
And yeah. There's also a whistle added in the instrumentation, which of course we love. That's always a fun one. And then the title track, Remembering, please go check that out because it has this beautiful ebb and flow to it. And it's it's just beautiful storytelling overall, and it has great rhythmic sections to it as well. Check out the music video because that is a work of art, beautifully done.
Nice.
So yeah, that was it for Remembering.
Lovely. And next up, I
Mm.
want to talk about one of our favorite hip hop artists, and we're into Giddy Boy. Yes, so
Noise.
Giddy Boy, he released the album I Tend to Get Tongue Tied. Another excellent album by Giddy Boy. It includes actually quite a few pre releases, which I'm not mad about, for a total of 13 tracks. It was a lengthy one, okay? So I won't talk about the
Damn.
13,
Yeah.
there's no way, it's gonna be like 2 hours. So let's talk about a couple that did it for me. So let's start with Zibit. This is the opening song, and it's called an instrumental intro and super dope progression. This full track is amazing, and I am a fan of the full mixing in this track. It's super cool. It serves as such a wonderful intro for this album. Next up, we have Monster, featuring Yura, and this track starts with a super cool intro evolving into like playful bits. So I from this album, I noticed there is a lot of progressions, between different rhythms, and I really really enjoyed that bit. Giddy Boy plays back and forth between his more rhythmic rapping and sharp rapping style. And the
Mhm.
addition of Yura for the bridge was such a beautifully done choice. I was like,
Love her.
She's stunned. You know that sometimes we do complain about when features are not featured but only for a little bit. In this specific case, I feel like she really takes the cake in that bridge. I was like, yes, yes, 100%.
Ugh, sweet.
100%.
Yeah.
Then I want to talk about Window. So this single is more on the experimental side of Gary Boy, and I do love that side of Gary Boy. He does it so well. And it's honestly it's a total experience. The progression is super outstanding, and it just hit the right spots when I'm listening to it. I'm like it just fits me, you know. My brain and my ears like that.
Mm.
Yes, let's pick things
Oh,
out.
nice.
Yes. Last, I want to recommend My Job is Cool featuring Zico and J Tong. Absolute fire. You have two great rappers. Kiribo is such an amazing rapper. So you expect insane bars, fantastic flow, the full thing, just fire. Yes.
Sweet.
So what is your next one?
Next one is not sad,
Not sad.
which not
Bravo.
sad,
Okay.
right? Okay. I wanted to talk about the EP Hol Hol by
Okay.
Joha. This is interesting
Ooh.
jazz meets R&B with a dash of
Ooh.
electronica. And it is such a dope combination. I want to talk about Whistle, which has a crazy bass in the instrumentals. Super groovy. They did like a vocal
Oh,
distortion,
nice.
which was very well implemented, did not feel gimmicky, which is sometimes,
It's the case.
a bit
Yeah.
hard. Yeah. I also wanted to talk about Ho Ho, which is the first of two title
Okay.
tracks. This has amazing synths, amazing layering as well. It was really well done. Has distorted guitar this
Oh,
time, and it's
we
just so
love.
good. Yeah. And the second title track and the last track I wanted to talk about from this EP is
Okay.
Goldfish. And this has such a fun opening to the track. It's slightly lower than the others in
Okay.
pitch, but it's just very dreamy. It's cool. It's nice. I just love it so much.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Shall we move on to the next hip hop
Mm.
slash R&B?
Oh, oui, madame.
Yes. So I want to talk next about Coogie, and he released the album Upset. 11 tracks. This is pure rap at its raw level from start to end. Excellent features as well. So I want to share a couple of tracks. Flame is the opening track, sick beat mix, and a really fun bounce to it. This song is all about vibes and it's a solid start. So if you are not familiar with Coogie's style, at least the tracks I'm very, very familiar with, they tend to be more like go, go, go. You know, it keeps you like, yes, yes, yes.
Pumped
Yes,
up.
exactly. And this album itself, it feels like that as well. So next up, I want to talk about Shut
Mm.
Up featuring Zico. Fire. Aggressive rapping for this one. It's such a super sick track. They're in for an aggressive type of rapping style. And if you like it, listen to Shut Up. Which honestly, the name gives it away
Nice.
as well.
A
Yeah.
little bit.
So two peels, it takes over with more like a rhythmic rapping flow to it. And it's the rhythmic rapping comes with the territory of it needs to be sort of like a smoother than other singles, and this one does it, and it makes it stand out in an album that is full of like super sharp beats and super fast rapping.
Mm.
I want to share also the single Sober featuring Jackie Vai. We love this girl. We love that. She is edgy
Nice.
and she owns it, and we love her for that. Okay. So,
Mm.
alternative, I expected this when I saw that this feature, cool and packed in EDM beats with a edgy mixing and the right amount of autotune. So just like you mentioned before, the vocal
Mm.
distortion, this one had the right amount of autotune, which I expected from Jackie Vai to be honest. But this one it has just the right amount and it makes it pure vibes. It is excellent. Last but not least, I want to recommend the single Coogie and Me featuring Lobona Beat. This one has a bit more like OG hip hop vibes. I
Mhm.
feel like they go back to the roots, but also they will fire bars. It's just such a effortlessly cool track, to be honest. I really liked it. And then they have the best of both worlds. They go OG, but also they have like newer sort of like beats, more trendy ones. And honestly, it's such a cool listen. I really, really liked it. Yes.
Noise.
So who do you have
Mm.
next?
Let's go back to my indie babies. I wanted to talk about the band Inicum with their EP Organic
Okay.
Tender. And this is a band that was formed during their college years, and they released this album in
Okay.
March. This album is their 8 questions and answers about the subtle and organic human
Okay.
figures.
Perfect.
I know, it's very cool. Um, I want to talk about Before Sunrise, which is their opening track. This is a fun rock track, but it's also like a protest
Oh,
track.
so we go political here.
Yeah, yes, exactly. They're basically calling politicians old men, and they're basically telling them to watch out because they're watching their every very move.
Oh, I mean that they're not
Yeah.
wrong, politicians tend to be on the older side.
I mean, yes, but this is it's so dope. I loved it so much. I also wanted to talk about Carmen
Yeah.
Line, which is their second title track. Lovely Sins, another rock track, obviously. And they have this like guitar moment in the
Yeah.
bridge. They have a bridge, first of all,
We love.
which we love. And then they have this like super cool guitar moment in the bridge that I was like,
Sold.
I'm sold. You had me. Like, here we go, adding it to my playlist. Um, if you want to go for a softer track, you should listen to Light and
Okay.
Breath. They're both very soft tracks, very gentle, meant to be like a comfort to the listeners. Sophie is another very soft track, but has beautiful guitars that have like this like southern twang
Oh,
to it.
okay. That's an
Yeah,
interesting
it's
mix.
so cool. I loved it. Yeah. Um, the song Sophie is like a love
Oh,
letter.
cute. Okay.
This is some romantic shit. Oh, it's super nice. And then I also want to talk about Sisley because this is a very soft and beautiful closing moment of the album. Very melancholic, quite introspective. And again, they have that twangy guitar from the previous track that I mentioned, and it just it wraps it up
We
so
do love good
nicely.
instrumentals.
Yeah, we do. Anyways, thank you, Inika.
So for me, I want to talk about IOL and the EP Valentine. So this one, it is pure R&B smoothness at its best. Okay, so here I'm going
Mm,
full on R&B with this release. We had a couple of mixes here and there in
mhm.
the previous ones, but this one is 6 singles and R&B. The intro is called Valentine. It's called Valentine intro actually, and it is indeed an intro, as you may you may know. The title suggests. Okay, so it is a beautiful track, and it's got back back vocals. So when I think of an intro, I think of instrumentals, if you know what I mean. It normally
Mhm.
tends to be like that.
Yeah.
But this one is instrumentals with back vocals, but you know where when the instrumentals are at the front of the track and then the vocals just are a
Ooh.
support element of this track. And this is it for
Yes,
this
yes,
track.
yes,
And it
yes.
is honestly so
Oh,
enchanting.
nice.
Loved it.
Mm,
Next up, I want to recommend Skin. We move into a more electronic R&B genre with this single, and I really liked the composition. You know, the R&B and electronica, it tends to be super cool, but it also needs to be well executed. Okay, so
mhm.
the smoothness of the R&B and the sharpness of the electronica do not, clash.
Yeah, exactly.
This one has an excellent composition, to be honest, and again, great vocal layering is an element of this EP. Next up, I really like the title of this song actually. Wrong person, right timing. Is super. Normally you
Mhm.
have it the other way around. So I
Yeah.
really like this one, and it is the acoustic guitar in this single. It is breathtaking. It's the only way I can describe it. And IOL
Mm.
vocals are auto-tuned just at the right amount, okay, that it just enhances the smoothness of the track. So you have like this just a little switch that just makes it for such a great experience when you're listening to it.
Ah, how
Yes.
lovely.
Next up, I want to talk about Never Been in Love. This one has quite a fun pace changes, okay? They have, I think we spoke about this before, but I really love when a song uses well breaks in the song.
Mm.
And you have like these moments
Hmm.
that become like your wow moments because it kind of keeps you on edge. Like, where are you coming with next? You know, what is next?
Keeps you on your
Yeah,
toes. Yeah.
so this one has an outstanding progression. It's a total listening trip and it hits just right when you listen to the full single. The last song I
Mm.
want to recommend from this EP is Greed. Is the last track, and honestly, what a way to finish this release. The strength, the uniqueness, the tempo are absolutely incredible, and it for sure leaves a strong impression with this layering.
Hmm.
And the instrument is because they sort of like drag, if you know what I mean. So I felt like this was interesting because I would expect this last single to be a single for an intro because when the instrumentals drag, you sort of like expect a continuation of it with the next single, with the next song in the album.
Hmm.
But this one just does it, and it's like I'm like, there's no other song here, so what is happening?
Like, what's the conclusion? Like, you're
Exactly,
left, it's
exactly. But if
left
you think about
open.
it, it's a sort of concept that just
Interesting.
keeps you like, I need to wait for his next release because I suppose the next one will continue this, you know? So it
Uh-huh.
does give you with
Yeah.
that sort of, I'd say you are also expectations, if you know what I mean.
Mm, it feels incomplete.
If
Like
you like
you're.
conclusions like me,
Mm.
you'll be like, what is happening? Why are you leaving me hanging? You know? So this single, it did feel like that. Honestly, and the title is
Mm.
Greed, so the title should have given it away.
Maybe you're greedy for more.
Honestly, it might be. So that was the last EP I wanted to recommend for the hip hop and R&B scene.
Mm. All right, let's go back to my indie babies. The last EP I want to talk about is Coral Forest by the band Jane Coral. This is a
Oh,
trio. They also released this album in
yeah.
March. And we're being invited into a
Mm-hmm.
utopia where our body has grown a lush coral forest that has its own
Oh,
ecosystem. This album is poetry. It's
but
super
I just
cool.
love
I
how in the indie scene they have such a well crafted concepts, you know. So they are a lot
mm,
of them are all
mhm.
about let's have this little bubble where we create something that is about storytelling. They're very
Yeah.
conceptual, and I really really like it.
Hmm. I know. It's part of what makes it so cool to
Yeah.
listen to because they're actually telling a story with chapters, sometimes a conclusion, sometimes not. Um, this album has
Yeah.
5 tracks. We start with Darkness Growing on Fear, which is very soft and very floaty. Then we move on to Raincomb, which is psychedelic
Oh,
rock, and it's a beautifully crafted soundscape. They made the sound very wide so that when you listen to it with like
yeah.
headphones, it's like you have this unending wide space in front of you, and it just like you have to take like this deep breath while you're listening to it because you're like, I am somewhere else. I'm not in my house, not in my apartment, not in Belgium. I'm in space. It's awesome. And so if I don't want to be in Belgium, I
I
listen to that
see.
track. Um, Cloud is their title track, which is a solid rock track with very cool guitar moments. Ruins has some great drums to it. Also has some humming and quite a lot of
Yeah.
repetition in the track, but it's very cool. It has a really cool outro as well because it kind of lingers. And then Neverland is their last track. Kind of feels like you're swaying along with them. It's a lovely sound, it's beautiful vocal layering, and overall is just an amazing listening experience. And yeah, that's it for Coral Forests. I have 4 quick shout outs that I
Yes,
want
I
to
have
do.
only one, but go ahead.
Okay, you go
I
first.
just want
You
to
go
mention
first.
one, and it is Moza. So he's also a new artist that I recently discovered, and he released the album Patter, including 8 tracks. I don't want to mention a lot about this one because we'll be interviewing him about this album later
Mm.
for the K Meal. So just keep an eye on that. But excellent release, and one of my favorite ones for the first half of this year.
Hmm. Nice. I listened to that album. His vocal tone is
Yes,
amazing.
100%.
So good. My quick shout outs are for Necta with her album Soul Bazaar. If you want some electronica, this is the one. If you want a more folk album, you can listen to Reverie is My Pony by
Okay.
Sosil or World in Delay by Archie, which two great, fantastic folk albums. And then I also wanted to recommend one last rock album, which is Herman by You and One. I think, yeah, we interviewed them about this album, so go read that on thekmeal.com.
Great. I think that with that would wrap
Yay!
up or the more indie R&B hip hop side of the cameo.com. And
Mhm.
overall, these albums, I think that we have to mention something very important, and it's that the amount of releases every week in the hip hop R&B and indie scene, it's pretty insane. I
Yeah, it's
it is
bonkers.
crazy. I think that we have
Mm.
at least about 50 releases, at least on my side, that are just hip hop or R&B. I cannot imagine how busy it is
Mhm.
with indie.
It's busy, but I usually pre-select a little bit.
I want to cover them all. I do sometimes have to
Mm.
pre-select, but I mostly try to cover. And maybe that's why there are 50 on my side. I need to stop actually. But I think that all of these releases, first of all, they are added into our exclusive Spotify playlist because they have truly been incredible. And yeah,
Mm.
I think that they're really handpicked in this case because we have quite a high volume of releases, at
Yeah.
least for the first 6 months,
Hmm.
being
Hmm.
insane.
I mean, it's very hard to stand out if you have like 50 releases to go through.
Indeed. So
So,
these ones are like
yeah.
standouts. Yes, I think that with
Mm.
that we're wrapping this episode of Discovery with a K with the favorites of hip hop, R&B, and indie for the first half of 2025. And remember to follow us at
Mhm.
thekmila.com. We are everywhere. And honestly, if you have another recommendation of an album from the first half of 2025 that you loved, please let us know. We love listening to new
Yeah,
music and
definitely.
recommendations. Let us know. So this was Discover with a K. Bye bye.
Bye.